recording. Well, welcome to the November 25th, 2025 session of TAPR and HamSCI technical session. My name is Dave, KV0S, and this week I've been reorganizing my K9Q radio stuff and trying to um, fix some issues that I had, and it sounds like Rob also helped fix some of my issues. So thank you. Maybe Michael was involved in that as well. So um, that's about it for me. Next on the list is Nathaniel, W2NAF. Go ahead.
Thank you, Dave. I'm not sure why my video is not working quite right, but I imagine if I restart Zoom, that will fix it, but I don't know that that's necessary right now. Anyway, it's been a very busy week. I think some key points are we have our new research assistant started working on the project. I introduced her to Rob and Michael on Zoom, and she has gotten started trying to um, you know, put together her first RX888B B-Link system here at the University of Scranton, and she's working on documenting that. So I think she's making good progress there, and she'll continue working on that. Another thing, I met with Dave Witten today, and the student Jackson, who's working on a magnetometer dashboard, and Dave Witten's working on one too. So I think we made good progress on that. And as a reminder to people, if you want to see any improvements or changes to the personal space weather station um, University of Alabama data repository website, please file some comments in the charrette. I can put the link in the chat again. Also, drop Christina Collins an email so that she knows to look for your new submission. We will be continuing to discuss the charrette during the Thursday morning telecons before AGU. So not this Thursday, of course, because of Thanksgiving, but next Thursday. My wife, Rachel, and Dr. Z did meet again this afternoon, and they're continuing to make good progress on their magnetometer project as well. And I had an excellent weekend in Washington, D.C. With Bill Lyles and Diego Sanchez, a number of other people at the Radio Club of America Technical Symposium. And Christina Collins was there, and she got an award, and I became a fellow, and it was a lot of fun, made lots of great connections. So back to net.
Very good. Next on the list, let's see. We have Dave Witten, KD0EAG. Go ahead, Dave.
Hello. Yes, as Nathaniel said, we met with Jackson today and talked about this dashboard, I guess it's called, for a monitoring tool for the magnetometer that potentially could work a variety of ways, and will be probably looking for input, at least from the most interested users as we go along. We have new code for as I probably have said before, for the it's used particularly for the B-Link installation, and then this is a monitor that can be run either potentially on that device or on a remote device or a variety of ways, depending on demand. For keeping an eye on what's going on one or more um, uh, magnetometers, and so that's kind of occupied me the last few days, just trying to get um, a mental um, picture of what that should what that can incorporate and how it might look. and I'll be working with Jackson. I hope very closely to get this done. So that's it for me, really. I can't think of anything else.
Oh, okay. Next on the list is Dave, W6OQ. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Not much going on here radio-wise. Just here to see what I can learn. Thanks.
Okay. And then next on the list is Dave Julian, WB9YIG. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, good evening, guys. Been a little bit busy. I got 6 meter halo up for the meteor scatter party. That's working, and working on a uh, WinLink RMS system, trying to get that online, and getting ready to fry 3 turkeys this Thursday.
Oh
So
boy.
it'll be yummy. My wife says large family. We have a get together on Saturdays, so Thursday's Friday. So that's all.
Yes.
Back to the net.
Very good. Next on the list is David McGaw. Go ahead, David.
Good evening, everyone. I'm mobile at the moment, so I'll make it brief, but I'll just mention the one I have an antenna project to put together an egg beater antenna. If you know what that is, it's crossed loops and reflectors to pick up our CubeSat, which does have some random resets happening, but it's otherwise alive. And if anyone knows how to set up a satellite receiver for GFSK at 450 megahertz. I've got the receivers, but the software we've been doing, we're having a lot of trouble getting it up and running. It seems like it should be, as we might say, not rocket science, even though we are picking up a satellite. Back to net.
Very good. Good luck with that. Next on the list is Jonathan, KC3EEY. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Hi, everybody. I continue to work on the VLF interface board. I'm just figuring out things as I go. Should hopefully have a prototype spin up ready for testing shortly. I'm also looking at a web interface for the VLF systems and how to actually do that. Uh, there appears to be many different ways that it can be done, but the hard part is trying to figure out what is the best way, or at least what is the way that would work best in this application. Something lightweight, low processing. It could just be regular HTML and scripts that generate pages. Could be PHP. Could be both. I don't know. This is much new territory for me, so I'm not sure. But also, I wanted to mention that there are others who have VLF receivers and can contribute data right now. So I'm also working on spinning up a server to capture that data from those people. I have at least 2 or 3 that can stream VLF data to the server. So I'm working on getting that functioning. The back end, of course, I understand, but I have to figure out the front end, which again, I believe will be a bunch of cron scripts where these scripts would generate the appropriate web pages on a certain interval. That seems to be probably the best approach, and I think that's what was done with Paul's original website. So that's ongoing, and if anyone has any has done this before, wrote scripts to generate web pages and added dynamic features to web pages like buttons and things like that, that could execute commands and this and that, please reach out to me because I would love some assistance. This is kind of new, so I'm trying to for figure this out and do it in a way that's the most lightweight and makes sense. All
We
I have. Back to the net.
Yes, Nathaniel has a answer for you, I think.
I love have an answer, but I have some points of discussion. That all sounds really good, Jonathan. It also sounds, you said you're trying to make a website for the local nodes that would like run on your thin client.
Yes, that would
That
be instead of
this this sounds remarkably like what Dave Witten's trying to do with the magnetometer and what the student Jackson is trying to do. And I don't want to necessarily overcomplicate things by tying two projects together that shouldn't be tied together. But since we are trying to also create a unified, personal space weather station system, and Jackson seems to be quite a keen student that seems to be looking to sink his teeth into something. Maybe I think it would be good to use some open session time to have Dave Witten show more of what he's doing, talk more about your thing, and see if there's a way that we could address both things.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Can
Have
we continue with
experience
the
with
roll?
that sort of thing.
Are we at a point to continue with the roll call?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Next on the list is Ken Hill, VE6 AGD. Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Um, yeah, I've taken an interest in this ham science, and a couple of other people in Alberta, Canada are looking more into ham science. And one of the things that we're doing is we have a ham station, club ham station, that I'm going to look into how we could get involved with the meteor scatter on the 11th and 12th. And also what we're going to do is put together a backyard magnetometer just to try it out and get familiar with it. So that's a couple of things that we're working on.
Very good. I think Nathaniel has some comments for you. Nathaniel?
Yes. Your questions about the meteor scatter QSO party?
Well, in the how to set up magnetometers.
Yes, why don't we can talk about that during the open session as well. What I can say in the while we're waiting for the open session, I will put a link in the chat to the HamSCI webpage about the magnetometers if you don't have that already, which has information there.
Okay. Next on the list, let's see, is Michael Howen, AC0G. Go ahead, Michael.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. I've been doing day job stuff, unfortunately, but also some ham radio stuff. Working on I've resumed work on some WWV, WWVH discrimination work. I'm using a combination of a variety of factors. Christina Collins test signal, which happens twice an hour, the 440 signals, which happen once an hour, the per minute signals, which happen on different frequencies, and the 100 hertz modulated with BCD signal that happens continuously. And finally, following Phil's advice, using some schemes to do cross correlation and subtraction and timing. and it's starting to look a little promising. And I hope I'll have something to present within a week or two. The other project that I've been working on is a package to enable a Python package to enable an application to communicate with Radio Daemon via RTP package, RTP streams, both the control stream or status stream and data streams. And a test project I created displays shortwave listening broadcasts that have been compiled in the EI-BI database from Germany. That's published twice a year. It automatically loads the data and presents a spreadsheet or a web page rather that shows the stations which are online, talks to Radio Daemon, dynamically creates a channel and enables you to listen to it, borrowing heavily from both the Radio Daemon code as well as the K9Q web code, and making liberal use of AI. So that is actually up and running, and I have a GitHub website that you can download. I'm having some trouble figuring out how to get it to work seamless or work with or behind or out from behind an IGMP router, but hopefully I'll figure that out. I'm suspecting it may be something peculiar to my local area network that's giving me trouble. And then I've been working with Rob to a limited extent, but trying to coordinate some help for Nathaniel's new assistant and get the servers up and running, and a new WireGuard network to support them. That's it. Back to Nick.
Okay. Next on the list is Paul Elliott, KB6 CXC. Go ahead.
Well, it's WB6CXC,
Oh,
but
sorry. I
that's
keep
okay.
saying that.
That's all right. Hi, everybody. Yeah, just I'm going to share something really quickly. I've been working on this X88. Here we are, and making some progress. Hello. Huh, interesting.
There it is.
Okay, yeah, funny. I can't see it here, but anyway, so I decided what we're seeing here at the left are or at the top are balanced filters. We're going to go with balanced inputs. If you want to go single-ended, all you have to do is terminate one port with the dummy load, and I'll probably put a jumper on there to provide for that. And so going balanced all the way through. This is a bypassable shelf filter. This is a bypassable 60 megahertz low pass filter. Significantly better than what's on the current RX88. I mean, by a huge factor actually. Because if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right as far as aliasing is concerned. And then, got my USB connected up to the FX chip, and the rest are kind of just thrown down, not quite at random. I'm still working on signal flow issues, and there are a few other parts that still need to go on the board in the schematic. But this is a larger board than the 888. It's 70 by 100 millimeters. But I've got an enclosure that'll work for that, and the board size, can always make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller if we find a better enclosure for it, but this will be a good starting point, I think. So again, I just wanted to, it's not done by any means, but progress is being made. Let's see, I'll stop that sharing, and I got my other screen back. Good. So that's about it from here. Still waiting to hear if anybody's heard about our time sync at WWV. Please let me know if there's any progress there. So back to net.
Okay. Very good, Paul. We appreciate your hard work. Next on the list is Phil Karn, K9Q, and again, congratulations on the recent updates. I
Oh,
really
well,
appreciate those.
yeah, recently, actually, the last couple weeks, I haven't done very little.
Yeah.
My current project actually is trying to improve filtering. The Mainly in the spectrum analyzer, some of you may have noticed in playing with the spectrum analyzer, the strong signals bleed a lot, and that's due to the way I'm doing the spectral display when in the wideband mode. I just look at the raw FFT output from the same FFT that's doing the convolver. And because that's not windowed, you get a sin X over X response in each bin. So very strong carriers, spread out very widely. I'm working on a way of doing this, uh, uh, better mathematically. That still doesn't cost much in the way of CPU time. Probably I'm right now. I'm working on doing a sampled FFT in parallel directly on the front end data. Because it's sampled, it won't really take much in the way of cycles. It only runs when a client like K&IQ Web asks for a display. But it basically runs a parallel FFT to the one that is being used for convolution, except that it's windowed using proper sampling windows to control side lobes and so forth. So that's my current project. It's still early phases. Other than that, I don't really have anything going on. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. And next on the list is Scott Newell in 5TNL. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, pretty crappy week, so not much forward progress. Although I would like to hear a little more about what Michael and Phil have been working on with the WWV WWVH cross correlation. I had this terrific, so I thought idea about doing a heat map of a full day with, the time offset in the y-axis and the minute of the day in the x-axis, and I ran the cross correlations and patched WWVSim and all that, and I'm seeing strong periodic components in there that just destroy whatever graph I come up with. There's, not at all what I expected. So I hope y'all have something much better. Maybe I screwed something up. And that's it for me. Back to Net.
Very good. Next on the list is Tom N5EG. Go ahead, Tom.
Oh, good evening, Dave, everyone in the group. I'm still working on the quad receiver. I had an exchange with Navid, and he's going to go off and look at a couple of the issues. We've got a long list of things trying to figure out. I added connectors for all of the control signals, including LVDS controls, and I've been digging into the state machine used on Oscar's BB103HF code in the FX3, and still awaiting kind of some of the tooling on the FX10. Hopefully it'll be similar, but still trying to work my way through that. Back to the group.
Okay. And next on the list is Rob Robinette. Go ahead, Rob.
Good evening, everyone. I'm I think most of my effort has been continued to be with this Whisper Demon servers, not directly impactful for this project. So I'm not sure. I won't go into a lot of detail, but that system is up, and I've moved my servers. Both of them are now co-located in Hurricane Electric co-location facility. So there, and Scott Michael has brought up WD30, a third backup server for the Whisper Daemon database network, and it is Michael. You are being fed. The spot files are being delivered now. So, um, and Dave's Dave Larson's server is set up and delivering. So everything is there's more work to be done there, but that's a fully redundant system. It's based upon the same principles as the PSW server in terms of an architecture. Well, it's a little more complicated, and I think there's a more redundancy in the system. In our system, we have now three servers, two reflection points, droplets in the cloud geographically dispersed. So there's a whole lot of redundancy in the system now. And I don't know the redundancy strategy for the PSWS servers, but I found it very helpful. It's pretty impossible to make changes to code unless you can take a server down and restart it. In this way, nothing gets lost if one goes down. Any component in the whole chain. Um, I'm I've learned a whole bunch of stuff. One of the things that I have learned is might be relevant to the HamSCI project is that I did take a look at attempts to look I looked at the SSH servers and the incoming attempts, login attempts, and was really amazed at how much under attack, not just for SSH, but a whole bunch of other services were under attack on my public reflectors. So I went in and added the fail to ban service and a lot of jailing of and 4 different classes of jailing that happens with different timeouts and all kinds of stuff. Um, so it's ugly out there. If you have a device sitting on the public internet, um, it's really ugly to see what the bots are trying to do to you. So that might be I don't know what they've done for the PSWS server, but I hope that they've paid attention to it because it too would be very vulnerable. I'll send that back. I may bow out soon, and so if somebody has questions for me, now would be time.
Rob, you see now why I strongly recommend turning off password authentication.
Oh yeah, well that's all been turned off.
Okay.
But that's hardly sufficient. It's just
I
the
well, I
smallest
mean,
part
and,
of
well,
it.
blocking service ports that don't only need to be external is the other thing. But once you turn off password authentication to SSH, I open it up and I don't bother with fail to ban. But I've
Well,
never had a
yeah, I got
problem.
hundreds of people trying to talk.
Well, yeah.
Dozens
So
per
what?
second of SSH.
So what? So they don't get in. So what?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. Well, I
it's
make
wasting CPU cycles. Yeah, but other than that, who cares?
anyway. That's you never. The problem is that if they can make in through the window in some way, they get access to other systems and beyond that where I don't have
Well, that's my
control over.
argument. You
I
make
think this
everything so,
Yeah.
I think this
vulnerable
just
after that point.
highlights, you know, highlights why the universities are so paranoid about servers and things like that, and why they, have security professionals that are just focused on this.
Yeah.
So it's
We
not
need.
easy.
I've punted on that. We were talking about getting remote access and my account set up again to remotely access inside your network.
Hmm.
Um, and I haven't. I confess I haven't worked on that.
That's okay.
Nor have I registered for AGU, but I think you've given me the go ahead to do that, right? It's like,
Yes.
okay, I will do that later today or tomorrow. Okay, and I think well, in any case, I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. I guess it's
I do too. That'll be really
okay.
nice.
Okay, back to net. We can talk about other things.
Okay, unless there's somebody that joined late, that's everybody, I think. So we're open for general discussion.
All right. Well, I guess why don't we jump right in and let's talk about um, web dashboards, if that's a good thing to start talking about. Um, I think maybe Dave, do you want to show Jonathan what you've been up to? And you can talk a little bit more about what Jackson's been doing, and we can hear a bit more about what Jonathan wants to do. I think you're muted, Dave.
There. Sorry.
There you go.
Gotta find the right mouse. Let's see, get this wrong one out of here. Yeah, I'd be happy to. I don't have anything live to demo, but I do have some screenshots and that I have on GitHub, and I also have documentation on Read the Docs for a couple things. One part of what this is all about is kind of a re-architecting of how the magnetometer is working from the past. Hopefully, I'm going to sit down and test it. We should be able to run the same way off of Raspberry Pi, should someone want to. But I rewrote the data capture code for the magnetometer to specifically to be able to use the B-Link and use these so-called pi eliminator adapters that essentially are an I2C interface run through a USB port. Then that brought up what can we do to see that data in live, and I will try to share. Let me see. Let me get this. The most interesting ones. Where is it? Give me a moment. I'm not much of a sharer, but here. Uh, oops. There. Uh, Wait a minute. No, 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 no. Wait a minute. Share. I don't know. That's not the right window. Um, just a moment. Come on. This is the window I want to share. And I want to share. It's not doing it like it did earlier today. Share. Nothing sharing. Um, I'm trying to share a tab from um, uh, the README on the GitHub page for this. Why won't it do that? Uh, it's got all these options. Is system depth. Does that do anything? No. Um, Docs. Zoom docs. No, no, that's nothing to do with this. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't appear that I can do that. These are essentially just uh,
What
sorry
what
about
can't
that.
you do? What can't
Huh?
you do, Dave?
I
What are you
can't
trying
seem
to
to
do?
share anything.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it comes up with just strangeness.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see. It should. I mean, I suppose one thing I could do is I could share your, because you sent me the
Yep.
GitHub link. I can share on my side.
uh-huh.
Let me just
The,
if
the links I
you,
sent you earlier, but if
or if you would just put in the link in the chat right now so I can
I
find
will
it
do
easily.
that. I will do
Okay,
that.
great.
This is the here's the first one. Come on. No. Chat, 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 chat. Where are you? Chat. Uh, Paste. Okay, and enter. Come on. And well, that's the one that's the most visual that shows the web interface. I actually have it over here. And I don't know if anyone can pull that up. Why on earth would I not be able to pull that up? That's This is better.
You're good. You
It
see the
doesn't.
I've got the mag dash up.
Okay, yeah, it's just
How
not
does this
working.
look?
Yes.
Okay.
But you have the there you go.
Does
Yeah.
that look good? Okay.
Yep.
So Jonathan, This is a web dashboard. This is a screenshot of a web dashboard that Dave Witten and his friend Claude coded together one night. Is that a correct representation, Dave?
Yes, it is. And
Okay.
yeah, correct. And there are many ways that this can be used, some of which are implemented here. This is showing some old data um, that's read from existing log files, but there's also an option of communicating with this, directly with in this case, the mag boards, um, or and presenting this as a web page or as a standalone app, either way. So
Mhm.
hopefully that.
Yeah. And you did this mostly, you said in Dino?
I'm using for this. I've been using. Yes, a web runtime called Zeno, Dino, Deno, which has a little icon of a dinosaur, which I haven't yet acknowledged anywhere on the screen, but it's a it's fairly easy to use once you get the hang of it. There are others. There's about four or five of these things. I've used them off and on for years, um, but AI has made it very easy for me to build an application around this. This one, the ultimately the windows will be certainly right now even there's a little icon up in the right-hand corner that allows you to make the configuration part disappear and everything resizes so you have the full screen. It's easy enough to make this actually a true full screen thing too for projection or whatever. Um, it but it could be showing data received from almost any device um, that it can communicate with. Going through the web, there are some limitations on exactly how you can move data around because of security interests, but there's pretty much always a way to do it. Um, uh, this is also set up to possibly, probably wouldn't be appropriate for audio, but to use a direct web socket URL. Well, that might work for almost anything. Or use an MQTT broker that would pass once per second sample data, and that should work about the same way. Haven't got that turned on yet, and potentially directly attached um, to the port that this is coming in on the local machine. Or what else did I put in there? I have other ideas too, but I can do pretty much anything in here that I can do in any kind of uh, en environment. It's easier than, say, building a web server with PHP and so on. It's not fundamentally different, but it makes it much more packageable and makes it much easier to turn this into something that can be used in different ways, relatively securely, and just and deployed to end users. So the end users could see their own data or they could see other data, depending on their permissions. There are actually, for instance, for the MQTT host, it does have authentication and security, and it uses secure protocols throughout when it goes across the net. So and it can do more than, if you'll notice across the top bar under yeah, right there. At the time I snapped this shot, there were two actually windows. Those are essentially tabs. And if you click between those two, you would see different plots. The third one would be let you set up yet another one. And the fourth tab out there that says config would be probably for system configuration. That may go away. There's also dark mode and light mode and little niceties like that. Um, so none of this is cast in concrete or whatever you cast things in these days, but it I it was easier. I found it easier to um, present, rather than writing a lot of notes in an email or something, it was easier for me to chat with the AI and make it give me something that at least looked like what I wanted. In fact, it really does work to a point. It was easier to do that than try to describe it um, verbally. Now, another nice thing about doing it this way, or most of these ways, is that you can have the tools you're using also generate documentation as you go along. And I can swear that that's wonderful. And there are not actually showing you, but I have read the docs type documentation also out there that gets automatically regenerated every time there's a feature chain. And where are you finding? Oh, you're looking in my, I see. Okay, those are just my artifacts there. Yeah, and actually, in some ways, yeah, that one that says window layout for AI, I think, is, yeah, I had to get it to, um, I couldn't get it. I had trouble getting it to understand that I essentially wanted a bar across the top and just a left and a right region there. And it was trying to put in a whole nother region. And I got frustrated with it. That's when it told me we should nuke it from space. Um, and when I said, okay, that's when we got on the right track. So, but
So,
the
so
idea,
did you draw this in a graphics program or something and then
yeah,
put it into upload it to,
yeah, I just used a little paint program and it
yeah.
said, oh, I get it. And it did the right thing. It was great. It was really great. And, Uh, but yeah, and there were some other ones that were earlier, but really nothing important. There's the requirements .md file there. It's the MD one that matters. And that's really what I fed to the AI to begin with, at least the starting point, to because I knew, I've been working on this a long time and I've kind of made several of these before. So I knew some of what I wanted. And I made this little markdown file, text file with a little bit of minimal markup, and fed it to it, and it got off to a roaring start. That's pretty much how you do this sort of thing. Um, but it's also able to infer to some degree what it was I really wanted, in spite of what said, which is quite gratifying at times, or what I should have wanted in some cases. Uh, doesn't always get it right, but so that's what I'm doing. Yes, this is a web. This is really using web technologies. I mean, I actually do not have a graphing layer in there at all at this point. I don't have anything like Grafana or any of the many that people use. Um, it can put that in there for me, or I can put it in there and get other kinds of features, probably all kinds of analytic features. But the idea here was not to make a tool for data, necessarily for data um, analysis at this point. It was data presentation, showing ongoing status and feedback. So it could be used in either a classroom setting, where um, someone is actually performing experiments and showing properties with the magnetometer and related tools, but also it could be used to monitor our magnetometers out in the field or play back old data. And believe me, I have old data. I have a whole server in the cloud full of the log files like the one that's being shown here. So there's a lot to do, but This is how this is what I've been doing. And frankly, this is likely not to be the final implementation at all. Jackson prefers Python. Um, uh, Fine. No problem. No skin off my teeth. We'll just, but this is the straw man that I thought I'd put up for people to throw rocks at.
Mm.
And
Ja,
thank
yeah.
you for the 2024 KV0S data example.
Yes,
It's very
yes.
nice, right?
So that shows we've been doing this for a while.
Oh, I have older ones than that. Yeah.
So Jonathan, do you have questions? What do you think?
He seems to not be available.
Or he could be muted. Jonathan, are you there?
I don't see him.
Yeah, he could have gotten called away.
I hope I
But
didn't just run on.
no, but I certainly appreciate this, and I have an even better understanding of what what you're trying to do here. I guess what I think this could be a good basis for what Jonathan would want to, and if we can structure the project in such a way that we don't overwhelm Jackson, maybe we could have him work on both the magnetometer and the VLF dashboard, and then have some sort of a unified, kind of code base or theme to all of it, so they're a little bit cohesive. What do you think, Dave?
Certainly, we can
Yeah.
we can find ways to do either and put them all in one
Yeah.
under one skin or
Yeah. I think the nice thing from working with Jackson so far is he seems to be open to working on this for the somewhat long term, because he's a junior right now, and he was willing to he seemed somewhat excited about the possibility of being a summer student working on this when we talked to him today.
Mhm.
And if we had him, you know hired for the summer as well, and we kept him both this year and next year, he could end up with this as a fairly nice, like, senior capstone project for his computer science degree, I think. And he seems to be I like the way he's been thinking about. He seems to have a good idea about how things need to be kind of modular, and he seems to be interested in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Did you get that feeling, Dave?
Yes, I did. He was interested in perhaps packaging this to be deployed as a something like a Docker image,
Yeah. Yeah.
and other things that would definitely there are lots of new techniques for doing this sort of thing to make it manageable.
Yeah. And I would think you'd also be able to handle those other things that Jonathan talked about, like how do you trigger scripts on the local device through the web dashboard and things like that. Certainly if you're doing Python, you can do those types of things. Well, I think I'm not sure if Jonathan's still there, but I do have Jonathan and I have plans to talk more in depth about the VLF project management on December 5th. So when I have that meeting with him, I can, you know, go over some of this. I think what we do for now is we keep working with Jackson on the magnetometer, get him going, have him go with that, get that going first. And then once he has that going to a sufficient place, add in some of the VLF tasks.
One comment, just so that people won't get the idea that there's something special about the way this one was produced. I have also made over the last 2 or 3 weeks similar sorts of projects just to see if I could do it using backends that I know the Dino's unfamiliar to most people, but I've done it with, I haven't done a Python one yet, but I've been using C, I've been using Go. Um, can't remember what else, but I've been just seeing, and frankly, these things are more alike than different. Building these things are more alike than different between different environments.
The nice thing about Dino is they have a good logo.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, no, I think that's really nice, Steve. I really like your web. I like what you're able to do so quickly with the with Claude.
He doesn't like to go to bed.
Do you pay for Claude at all, or are you using the free account?
No, I actually I found it well worth my money to pay a bit,
Yeah.
which means I have a subscription that gives me 10 credits a month, whatever that is, which is
Hmm.
about to make enough to make at least a good start on a quick app. I've used a little more than 10 on this in the last 3 or 4 days. But I also have another bundle of 100. Those more or less cost me well, the subscription cost me $100 a year, and
Hmm.
and then the additional ones I bought cost me $1 a piece. And so I would say about 15 of these gets a job done. Uh, and it looks like lets me build something that I think, at least in the past, people would probably spend a lot of money to have someone build. Um,
Right.
you know, and provides gratifying results.
Right. I've been now I currently have one of those $20 a month Chat GPT subscriptions. Were you on Chat GPT before, and did you like jump shift to Claude for any particular reason?
No, I'm not absolutely sure what. Actually, I may be using ChatGPT. There are so many names out there. I get them all mixed up.
Mm,
Um, the and they're constantly releasing new revisions. I'm actually using a particular IDE that provides, well, it's like Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is, a free environment
yeah.
that you can plug all those things into. This is one that cost me $120 a year that I just like from a company called
Hmm.
JetBrains that makes a lot of
Oh,
tools
okay. Right.
specialized. But so that's another little cost. But I do a lot of this all the time, and I didn't mind that. But yeah, technically, I'm using something called Junie that's there somewhat tuned to their environment. So it knows a bit about the capabilities of my IDE as well. But I'm sure that the Visual Studio Code tools are every bit as good. And even in my environment, I can put in all the others. Actually have, I, I can't remember. I plugged in a bunch, too many. You have to
Hmm.
unplug some of them some of the time.
Yeah, yeah, I've been using the way I've done it so far, and I haven't had nearly as much time as I'd like to actually do coding. But when I have been doing it, I've been running VS Code, and then I've usually been using ChatGPT in a standalone window, and I copy and paste code over. I also have been using VS Code, and it does have like the integrated GitHub, um, Microsoft AI Copilot. So I've used that a little bit, and I've done a couple of things with that. Yeah, but this is very nice. I also learned today that there are AI plugins for Vim as well. So
Or their Vim plugins um, for the one I use or the VS Code
yes,
ones. So everybody just wants to plug into everybody else.
yes,
It's very confusing,
yes.
but it works.
It does work.
And I've actually asked it to translate stuff like from Python to C. I had it do some drivers. That was how I got started with this. I didn't want to have to line by line translate a driver for the I squared C thing. So I asked it to do that, and to my astonishment, it did a pretty good job. It was, one or two things to touch up, but
Yeah,
so it
that's
works at
great.
low level or high level.
I think that's great, Dave. I think that's really nice.
I've got prettier ones than this. I have a globe that rotates, like Google Earth. I've got flow diagrams.
That's great. Well, I think it's almost 10 o'clock here. I might call it a night so I can read some DSP homework solutions before bed or something, or at least print them out so I can be ready to teach my class tomorrow. So,
Okay, well, have a good evening.
yes, you too. And happy
Maybe that
Thanksgiving.
stuff will put you to sleep.
Yes, definitely. I hope you all have a good evening and happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yes, you too.
You
Thank
too,
you.
everybody.
Thanks.
Yes.